and I'm going to do it right now.
She stands frozen in a gold gown, fireworks exploding behind her, a crowd of millions screaming her name. Beyoncé, the untouchable queen of perfection, owning the Super Bowl stage with robotic precision. The image is burned into our collective memory. Flawless, calculated, divine. But that glittering spectacle is precisely what Jason Lee is now threatening to crack wide open. Because while the world applauds her every step, he's whispering a story the Carter family has fought like hell to keep buried. And it doesn't begin with fashion lines or chart-topping singles. It begins with 2 children, 2 names spoken less, seen even less, and protected like state secrets. Rumi and Sir, especially Sir.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
For years now, fans have asked the same question in hushed corners of Reddit threads and Stan group chats. Why is Sir practically invisible? Why is Rumi ushered onto stages, into campaigns, and onto album tracks, while Sir's presence is almost mythological? One former associate of Parkwood Entertainment claims, off the record, that Beyoncé's team runs a full-blown internal protocol to manage Sir's visibility. Think scheduled social media windows, staged paparazzi leaks, and here's the kicker: selective medical privacy arrangements under strict NDAS. If you think that sounds like paranoia, buckle up, because Jason Lee says he's seen the papers, sealed, confidential medical documents that, if real, allege Sir is on the autism spectrum.
She doesn't know.
Beyoncé doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyoncé, and they're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts.
And that's just the spark. According to sources within the LA wellness scene, some of the most elite families are running what can only be described as invisible clinics. Quiet, discreet therapeutic facilities operating under private concierge care, complete with NDA, binding therapists, and security protocols tighter than the Grammys green room. And guess who's been spotted coordinating high-clearance visits in and out of one particular location near Bel Air? Dude, a familiar face from Beyoncé's inner circle. An assistant, once tasked with managing weekly obligations for the twins. That phrase came straight from a leaked itinerary screenshot, the kind Jason Lee says he's been collecting since 2022.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
Now, are we talking about a loving mother trying to shield her son from public scrutiny, or are we looking at a power couple so obsessed with image control that they're willing to erase part of their reality? That's the uncomfortable question. Because while the Carter camp remains silent, Jason Lee is escalating. He's not just hinting, he's naming. He's showing envelope corners and partial timestamps from what he claims are real medical files tied to private specialists in Brentwood. We're talking pediatric neurologists, sensory specialists, even behavioral analysts, all allegedly coordinated through intermediaries with ties to Roc Nation's legal wing. If this is fabrication, it's masterclass level. But if it's not, the fallout would make the Solange and the elevator tape look like light brunch gossip. And here's where it takes a darker twist. There are whispers, and we've spoken to 3 independent insiders who back this, that Beyoncé's team has been quietly testing the waters around public sympathy narratives. Not directly admitting anything, of course, but setting up a possible humanizing reveal about how every family faces challenges. One veteran publicist described it as reputation insurance, a fallback plan just in case Jason's alleged evidence goes nuclear. The timing? Let's just say that some believe the recent venture, Sir Davis, is more than just branding. It's a calculated Trojan horse, a way to slip Sir's name into the spotlight without opening the door too wide. And if you think that's too cynical, just look at the marketing. The Davis in my bones? Come on.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
So while the public clinks glasses to a moonshine legacy, Jason Lee is preparing to drop what he calls the certified receipts. He hasn't shared full scans yet, but his language has shifted. Less teasing, more confident. Meanwhile, Beyoncé's camp has begun circling wagons in the form of quiet outreach to sympathetic media figures, several of whom we know were recently asked to flag any coverage connecting Sir to health rumors. That phrase was sent in a direct email from a known Carter PR fixer. We've seen it. All of this leads us to the unsung half of this complicated twin equation, Rumi. She's the one we've been allowed to see. Super Bowl cameos, soft focus Ivy Park shoots, even a musical debut on Cowboy Carter. One image, one narrative, a natural star with Mama's charisma and Blue Ivy's work ethic. But insiders say there's more going on beneath the surface, specifically a growing tension behind closed doors as Rumi is reportedly groomed into the next polished Carter performer while carrying the invisible weight of being the easier twin. And that word? easier? It came from a family friend overheard at an industry event, describing the way the team handles the twins. Rumi's the easier one to work with. Easier for what? Photos don't lie. Rumi smiles through red carpets, choreographed moments, and those now viral backstage shots at the Super Bowl, flanked by Jay-Z and Grandma Tina. But look closer and you'll notice a pattern. Sir is almost always absent, or strategically obscured. Some clips we reviewed from past public events show security subtly guiding photographers away when Sir is nearby. Tina Knowles has tried to offer a folksy explanation. He's just quiet into books and electronics, but that's only fed the rumors, especially when paired with the fact that Beyoncé herself has never directly discussed her son's development, despite being remarkably open about her own mental health journey in the past.
I ain't worried. I ain't going nowhere. I'm telling you right now, I'm not playing this industry game.
And here's the kicker. Jason Lee claims one of the leaked documents isn't just a diagnosis. It's a summary, a behavioral and cognitive summary prepared for insurance purposes, listing accommodations requested for Sir in educational settings. If real, this would mean the Carters not only know, but have been actively navigating his needs behind the scenes for years. Nothing wrong with that, except for the layers of secrecy and the effort spent presenting a different image entirely. And in a world where celebrities build brands on authenticity, where does calculated omission turn into a lie?
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
What really raises eyebrows is how this could reshape public understanding of autism in celebrity culture. If the most powerful couple in entertainment has allegedly gone to these lengths to shield their son's reality, what message does that send to every family trying to normalize neurodiversity? One media strategist we spoke to called it a potential flashpoint, a reckoning. Because if these documents surface and the Carters stay silent, it'll be read as shame, and shame, especially in 2025, is a brand liability. Even Ye, in his usual reckless style, sensed the pressure point. His now deleted tirade targeting the twins wasn't just cruel, it was calculated. He went for the jugular because he knew there was something fragile there. He could have taken aim at Beyoncé's music, Jay-Z's Super Bowl deals, even Ivy Park's fading buzz. But instead, he brought up Sir and Rumi's mental capacity. Why? Because he knew that was the pressure valve. The one topic no one talks about, the Carter family's deepest, most tightly sealed chamber.
Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
And now that chamber's being pried open, not with a tabloid expose, but with slowly accumulating whispers, subtle document leaks, and a very loud former Hollywood Unlocked CEO who says he's just getting started. The most explosive of his claims, that the documents reveal not just autism, but the very timeline of its discovery, suggesting the Carters have known since the twins were toddlers and have been curating their public personas accordingly ever since. We're told the documents include references to controlled social environments, adaptive communication strategies, and even specialized schooling arrangements made under assumed names. That's right, according to one education consultant with ties to elite Westside LA prep circles, Sir may be enrolled under an alias to avoid media detection. That might sound like paranoia, until you remember these are the same parents who once trademarked all 3 of their children's names before they were even walking. If Jason Lee goes fully public with those files, the impact won't just be about Sir. It'll be about image, empire, and everything this family has built on the illusion of transparency. Because from Blue Ivy's Grammy wins to Beyoncé's relatable mom interviews, we've all bought into the idea of the Carters as the aspirational American family. But what if the crown jewels of that narrative, the twins, have been ghostwritten this whole time? And what if one of those ghosts is holding a diagnosis that Beyoncé's team has spent millions making sure we never see? And yet, as damning as the leaked summaries and whisper campaigns may be, the loudest silence in this saga doesn't come from the Carters. It comes from everyone around them. Because while Jason Lee drops breadcrumbs and fans connect dots, there's a bigger, darker current running beneath the surface. The industry silence pact, a spoken but never recorded agreement among A-listers, executives, influencers, and yes, friends who have stood in the same private parties on the same yacht decks at the same pre-Grammy brunches hosted by Beyoncé and Jay-Z and seen things they will never admit.
If we get to the bottom of Tupac's when that is finally revealed, 15 other will be revealed with it. And you will find that they were all committed by the same 2 people, father and son.
We've traced the guest lists. We know who's been in those rooms. From stylists with DNA-level access to publicists who've booked front-row seats for star-studded family moments. These aren't outsiders. These are people who've watched Rumi blossom while Sir remains gently ushered to the side. And yet not a single celebrity has dared to speak publicly about the obvious discrepancy. Not when asked, not when pressed. Not even when Ye dragged the twins into his unhinged social media tirade and crossed a line most of Hollywood pretends doesn't exist. And that right there might be the biggest clue. Because Ye doesn't move randomly, he lashes out in patterns. His attacks, especially the disturbing posts aimed at Sir and Rumi, were more than outbursts, they were warnings. We've spoken to 2 former associates who describe West's Carter rants not as jealousy, but as strategic chaos, the kind designed to rattle the silence, to threaten those who know more than they're allowed to say. His now infamous post questioning the twins' mental capacity, deleted in minutes, but not before it lit up insider DMS. Not before industry veterans began quietly admitting he went there because he knew it was real.
Obviously, it's subjective because, it's music and it's opinion-based, but, some things.
So why the silence? Fear, pure and simple. The Carters aren't just entertainers, they're institutions, with brand empires, political ties, and cultural clout that stretches from Silicon Valley to the White House. Visitor logs, Beyoncé's influence is so airtight, her collaborators don't just sign contracts, they sign NDAs thicker than Oscar scripts. One source told us of a backup dancer who was reprimanded for mentioning the twins' names in a private group chat. Another, a former assistant who claims they were let go after asking why Sir didn't attend a family photo shoot. The message is crystal clear. Speak, and you're done. And yet, beyond the silence, there's a subtler betrayal, one hiding in plain sight. Beyoncé has positioned herself as a champion of inclusion, of neurodiversity, of empowerment. She's released anthems for the misunderstood. She's shouted out Black excellence and mental strength from every platform available. But when it comes to her own son's alleged reality, she's locked the vault. No visibility, no conversation, just choreographed perfection and curated sisterhood. It begs the question, is it advocacy if it's only external?
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Now let's talk legacy. Jay-Z has always been obsessed with the idea, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. A line that went from clever lyric to family mission statement. His most recent interviews focus on time, fatherhood, and showing up for his kids. But here's what we're hearing behind the scenes. Insiders say he wasn't there during some of Sir's earliest developmental stages. Touring, building title, signing deals, and when the diagnosis, if the diagnosis is real, came in, there were reports of tension. 2 former Roc Nation staffers allege there were closed-door meetings about whether to incorporate Sir's needs into the Carter brand or keep them completely out. They chose door number 2. That decision is now haunting them because the age of filtered perfection is ending. The Renaissance-era Beyoncé's so-called rebirth is rooted in visibility, in truth. But how authentic can that be if one of her own truths has been sealed off from the world? Rumi appears on songs, Blue Ivy gets Grammys and speaking roles, but Sir remains a shadow, a name on a birth certificate, a blurry face in a holiday photo, a child who may be carrying the most powerful story the Carters have never told. And fans are noticing.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé.
That's why their latest pivot is raising eyebrows. Look closely and you'll see the signs of a panic mode rollout. Carefully leaked candid family shots. More screen time for Rumi. Whispered mentions of Sir in promo materials. Even brand, Sir Davis, feels like a subtle nudge toward visibility without actually confronting the elephant in the room. One PR strategist we spoke to called it emotional laundering, the attempt to look inclusive without revealing what's being excluded. In short, a calculated hypocrisy. And that hypocrisy is spreading. Within fan communities, the debate is already raging. Is this overprotection or erasure? Is the silence around Sir's condition an act of love or a PR tactic gone too far? Parents of neurodiverse children have started calling it out, demanding accountability from a woman they once looked to as a symbol of modern motherhood. Because representation matters, but it can't just be borrowed. It has to be lived, it has to be shown. Which brings us to the final, inevitable truth. The documents, the sightings, the cover-ups, none of it will stay buried forever. You can seal files, you can silence friends, you can ban words from press tours, but reality leaks through cracks. And right now, those cracks are spreading. Because Jason Lee isn't backing down. Because Ye already broke the seal, and because too many people have seen too much for this to stay quiet. So what happens when the dam breaks? When the receipts land in the public domain and Beyoncé's team can no longer spin the narrative? What happens when Sir, no longer just a name, becomes a person the world sees clearly, not through filters, but through truth? Will the Carter Empire come clean? Or will they double down and risk being seen, not as protectors, but as gatekeepers of an illusion? And now we leave you with this. If the perfect image was always a mask, what else are they hiding behind it? How long can the most powerful couple in pop culture keep the truth from boiling over? And what will it cost when it finally does? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this silence protection or performance? Until next time, keep your eyes open and your theories sharp. This story is far from over.